Careful, your grace. Nothing cuts like Valyrian steel. Grandmaster Pycelle to King Joffrey. Valyrian steel is a form of metal that was forged in the days of the mighty Valyrian freehold. It is exceptionally sharp, keeping its edge forever without the need for honing. Other than its sharpness, Valyrian steel is recognisable by its strength and lightweight in comparison to ordinary steel, as well as by its distinctive rippled pattern visible in blades made from it. We all know about the strengths of Valyrian steel, but how does its properties transfer to armour? The steel can be amazingly sharp without the need for honing. Strong and lightweight is superior to all other metals. It seems the armour will be much lighter, so this will allow the wearer to move much more freely while being protected by the superior strength of the metal. This provides a huge advantage in battle. I imagine common swords will just bounce off the armour without leaving a scratch, and it won't need to be repaired because there's no need for honing. It can be argued that the wearer becomes almost invincible. No weapon will be able to penetrate, and the wearer will be able to strike quickly, a lot quicker than the enemies attacking. Therefore, the wearer will not need to be as skilled as those attacking, and will be able to take on a number of enemies. This sort of alludes to the power of the Valyrians. Could you imagine an army of Valyrian warriors with dragons just waiting to attack? It would be quite a worrying sight for any invading army or any army attempting to put up a fight against the Valyrians. Although I doubt this ever happened, as the metal has always been very expensive and hard to come by. So kitting out a whole army would be quite difficult. The secret of forging Valyrian steel was lost in the Doom of Valyria, after which creating new Valyrian steel weapons became impossible. The material was expensive to begin with, so Valyrian steel swords such as House Stark's ice were already valued heirlooms passed down from generation to generation. Skilled smiths can reforge Valyrian steel weapons by melting down existing ones, but it's a difficult process. Two smaller Valyrian steel swords can be made out of a larger greatsword, or a large greatsword made by melting down multiple smaller swords. But the amount of Valyrian steel in the world is finite and extremely rare. The master blacksmiths of Qohor are noted among the few who can successfully reforge it, though even they don't know how to make entirely new Valyrian steel. In King's Landing, there is one blacksmith who is able to do this. His name is Tobbo Mott, and he was trained in Qohor. He is the blacksmith who reforged ice into two new Valyrian blades. First, Widow's Well, given to King Joffrey Baratheon as a wedding gift by his grandfather Tywin. And secondly, was the blade given to Sir Jaime Lannister. Jaime then gave it to Brienne of Tarth to use in a quest to locate Sansa, and he asks her to name it. She chooses the name Oathkeeper. There is only one man who may possess this armour: Euron Greyjoy. It's interesting how we haven't seen Euron with this armour yet. In Season 7, we all believe there will be a pact or alliance made between Cersei and Euron. So will this mean Euron will have to go to King's Landing? The same King's Landing where Tobbo Mott, who can reforge Valyrian steel, stays. Maybe Euron hasn't worn this armour because it needs to be fitted, it needs some sort of reforging. And by going to King's Landing, he'll be able to find one of these Qohor trained blacksmiths who will be able to fix this armour or reforge it so it will fit. In A Feast for Crows, when looking in the Night's Watch archives, Samuel Tarly reads about dragon steel, which he and Jon Snow think might have been Valyrian steel. Now we know dragons are fire-made flesh, so does this mean Valyrian steel is fire-made steel? It's interesting it was called dragon steel. It seems to imply that dragons are involved in the making of this metal. We all believe that the dragons will be vital in the upcoming war against the White Walkers, and their fire will be able to damage them and maybe even kill them. This raises the question, how would Valyrian steel armour hold up against a White Walker? In the show, Jon is attacked by one of these White Walkers. He's able to parry the attack from the ice sword with his Valyrian steel blade, and then is able to take the being out. So will their ice weapons smash to pieces as they try to cut through a Valyrian steel-clad Euron Greyjoy who just smirks in response? It's an interesting image. Does this make Euron vital in the battle against the others? Possibly. Maybe not. Or simply, does it make the possession of the armour vital? And will this become a big bargaining chip in the upcoming season? In a sample chapter for The Winds of Winter, Euron Greyjoy is seen by his captive brother Euron in a full suit of black scale armour, which Euron believes to be Valyrian steel. He believes it would have cost the kingdom even before the doom of Valyria. This image is also interesting in contrast to the White Walkers, or the others. Him, Euron, in his black scowl armour versus the white ice-clad White Walkers. Another strength of Valyrian steel is it's resistant to normal fire. And who likes to use fire? The newly crowned Mad Queen. Wildfire may not have much effect on the wearer of this Valyrian steel armour. They may be able to walk through the burning streets of King's Landing unburnt. But what other weaknesses could this Valyrian steel armour have? Well, if Valyrian steel is forged with dragonfire, can only dragonfire damage it? Does this give Daenerys an advantage over a Valyrian steel clad Euron? Alternatively, could the fact it was made by dragonfire give it strength against it? Would the wearer be able to withstand a dragon's flame? Possibly, for a short time maybe. Now, how will the Valyrian steel armour do against a Valyrian steel blade? It's key to remember Euron doesn't have a Valyrian steel sword. Well, at least we don't think he does. A Valyrian steel sword is the best bet at breaking through the armour, but surely this will take a fair few attempts. The wearer, when confronted with a Valyrian blade, will surely be able to take a few hits, and will gladly do that so he can land one of his own to end the fight. Now, we don't know of Euron possessing a Valyrian steel blade, but there is one that he could possibly get his hands on. House Harlaw on the Islands possess a Valyrian steel blade. Sir Harris Harlaw currently wields it. It is unknown how House Harlaw came into possession of this sword, as it was previously held by none other than Dalton Greyjoy. Could Euron plan to take back his family sword to complete his unstoppable set of Valyrian steel? Another interesting part of this theory that Euron will try to get hold of this sword is its name. The sword possessed by House Harlaw is called Nightfall. I think the name Nightfall definitely matches Euron and his personality. And interestingly, it's also quite a contrast to the sword of Azor Ahai, Lightbringer versus Nightfall. Could be interesting, maybe not in the upcoming seasons, but in the books. So Valyrian steel armour gives the wearer a tremendous advantage, invincible in battle, being able to withstand White Walkers, Valyrian steel blades, fire, possibly even dragon fire. It almost sounds godlike. We've seen in the upcoming, in the sample chapter released for the upcoming Winds of Winter, the Forsaken chapter, we know Euron is up to something dark, something that involves sacrifice. And he talks about how blood is power, and how there's going to be a sacrifice of these various religious people or religious leaders from different religions all across the world. And he wants to do something to birth a new god. These are the last days, when the world shall be broken and remade. A new god shall be born from the graves and carnal pits. Does Euron plan to ascend to godhood via blood magic? Is he in league with the others? Who knows? But we all want to find out. I hope to see Valyrian steel armour in Season 7. I believe this will be explored more thoroughly in the books, as there just isn't simply enough time or enough episodes left to give this the time it needs. Euron has collected many things on his travels that make him a major player, more so in the books, as he's only been quickly introduced last season. The existence of Valyrian steel armour makes me wonder, what other treasures lie in the ruins of Valyria?